Bone broth is a fantastic way to nourish your beauty, your strength, and your health. But it can be difficult and time-consuming to make it. So if you've ever felt on the fence about making it because it seems intimidating, or if you make it now and you want an easier way, then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Masterjohn of chrismasterjohnphd.com, and you're watching Chris Masterjohn Lite, where the name of the game is details, schmetails, just tell me what works. And today I'm going to show you the quickest way to make your own bone broth. This all starts with roasting a whole chicken in an Instant Pot, a programmable pressure cooker that many of us prefer to call an Instapot. Number 1, place the rack at the bottom of the Instapot. Number 2, put in 1 cup of water. Number 3, add the chicken. Number 4, follow the standard instructions to set it for 45 minutes. Now, I don't recommend using this to serve or roast chicken to guests. You're not going to get crispy skin or any of the other factors in a nice presentation that you want. What you are going to get is a very quick way to produce a large amount of food that can easily and conveniently be reheated throughout the rest of the week. Once the chicken is done cooking, separate all the edible meat from the bone, the cartilage, the tendons, any of the skin that you don't want to eat, and any of the organs that came with the chicken. The meat can go back in the refrigerator for use at a future time. Everything else goes into the Instapot, into the original cooking water. If needed, add some water to bring it right up to the level covering the other ingredients, and set it for 120 minutes. This is the maximum setting on the Instapot. If you have time, you may get a better stock if you let it go through a second round of 120 minutes for 4 hours total. But I often find that I don't have time to deal with that, and usually 2 hours produces a stock that gels pretty decently. Now I know what y'all are thinking. You're thinking, yo MJ, where are the spices at? I didn't add any seasoning to the chicken, and I didn't put any vegetables or spices or other things that carry flavor into the broth. Well, you can add whatever kind of seasonings and vegetables that you want. For me, the reason I don't do that is because I don't even use the broth for broth as such. What I do is I immediately cook my mixed starches in it. And it's much easier for me to reheat those meals and just add spices into the meal as I'm reheating it and control the flavor at the level of that reheated meal than to add it beforehand. If you want to be able to use the stock in versatile ways, cooking with it, sipping it as broth, or whatever else you like to do with it, and you want to put it right in the refrigerator when you're done, then what you should do is cool it as rapidly as possible. You may want to put it into the sink and put cool water with some ice around it to take the chill off. And then as soon as it's cool enough to put it in the refrigerator, put it in. If you leave it on the counter at room temperature for a long period of time, you can get bacterial overgrowth that could potentially make you sick. Personally, I know that if I save the broth in the refrigerator, I'm likely to not use it until I have to throw it away. So what I do is I use it right away to cook my starches. I take a bag of sprouted rice, a bag of sprouted lentils, 5 potatoes that I peel and dice, mix it all together, and bring the water to just cover the ingredients. Set the timer for 20 minutes. Once the starches are done cooking, I now have the really easy ability to put together a balanced meal and reheat it at any time in about 2 minutes. I just take a couple scoops of the starches that had been cooked in the chicken stock, mix in chicken meat into them and any spices and seasonings that I want, spend 2 minutes heating it up, and I have my meal ready to go. Now, I would be remiss to end a video about making stock easily without pointing out that I also use Kettle and Fire bone broth. Kettle and Fire sponsors my podcast, but they did not pay me to mention this here. I'm just mentioning it here because it's awesome. They simmer the bones over 24 hours the traditional way, put in all the flavors and make it artful in a way that I don't. But they also have packaging that allows it to be shelf stable for 2 years without adding any additives or preservatives. So what I do is I always keep Kettle and Fire on hand as a backup, And meanwhile, I try to keep up with my habit to make my own bone broth in the way that I've described here. I like making my own bone broth because it's so economical to cook a whole chicken, cook a whole batch of bone broth, cook all the starches, and have a week's worth of mixed meals that can be heated up in 2 minutes at any point. And so I think it's a great strategy to have in your kitchen if you want to make nutritious meals on the fly. All right, I hope this has been helpful. Signing off, this is Chris Masterjohn of chrismasterjohnphd.com, and you've been watching Chris Masterjohn Lite. I'll see you in the next video.